This is going to be another Spyderco Police OEM version or genuine version versus a Chinese knockoff. Because I wanted to show you mainly, I did this before, but I wanted to shoot this in 4K and I wanted to try it out. And then I also wanted to show you what the Spyderco or what the knockoffs come, a lot of them come, how they come from China. So this is the genuine Spyderco, and here's the knockoff that I just got today from China. And you can see from Hong Kong. This is how it comes. If the nice ones will come like this, most of them will, or they'll come in a bunch of bubble wrap that's just mainly packing tape wrapped around it, and it's a monster to get open. So, regular bubble wrap envelope. The genuine Spyderco rip-off box. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on boxes because to me that's like reading tea leaves. To compare boxes and fonts and colors and fangs on spiders and swooshes and gradients and stuff like that is wasting your time. Some people will look at it and say one font's heavier than the other on one or the other. You can see that there's difference. Some people will look at the barcodes and see if it comes and touches the Arabic numbers, which it does on the real boxes usually they have a little space there. I don't know why the Chinese haven't fixed that, but I think I have seen it where they have on a couple of knives where they did get that right. So people look at that. I wouldn't pay much attention to that. Some people look at the spider's fang and, whether he's got a big one or a small one, whether he's got curved fangs or straight fangs or all kinds of stuff. But this is a good thing to show you that the real people, and sometimes the gradients aren't perfect, but they're all different. You can have 10 real Spyderco boxes in your hands, and they'll have different little abnormalities in them. Same knife, same series knife. You may have 5 or 6 Enduras in your hand, and they may be different. Mainly because they are all, as it says down at the bottom here, printed in China. The real one and the fake one. So here is a big mistake on a real one. You can see where the Spyder transfer, the gold, whatever that stuff is on there, they just didn't get a good embossment inlay on there, or whatever they call this thing, overlay. And you can see that the swoosh shows through, and this is a genuine box. So don't pay attention to the colors, and just don't pay attention to that. It's a waste of time. I will show you the only thing in boxes that I think is not a waste of time. If you notice on this box, Spyderco will usually come with a good quality, and the only way you know this is having felt them. This is thick. There's something about this plastic has a lot of form and body to it. It's not flimsy, this bubble wrap. And it is a really nice fitted sleeve. Spydercos will come in that. Sometimes they'll come in if they don't have a lot of room in the box, they'll come with a flat cellophane sleeve, which is usually pretty good quality. It's not cheap and flimsy and real crinkly, but I wouldn't pay a lot of attention to this either because it's going to be very similar to what we're about to show you on the fake. One of the things that Spyderco does is they use a dense foam that you can't really see through. And they do not fit it to the box. So here it is. This is a real Spyderco piece of foam and box with a real knife. You can see that the white of the box on the bottom is showing through at the top. The foam doesn't fit. Spyderco never fits the foam pretty much. It doesn't matter whether it's a small box for a ladybug or a big box for a police or whatever, a Tatanka or whatever. They always have this little place over here where the foam doesn't fit. And the other thing is you can't see through the foam. So I'll show you here on this one, this fake, which I just got. You'll see what it does. So here's the fake. Going to open it up. And I unfortunately shot this the first time and I forgot to start the camera, so I have to shoot it again because I wanted to get this exactly as it came from China to show you. They wrap them up like Hershey bars. Unfortunately, this one just got unwrapped a while ago, and I had to start all over again after going 15 minutes. This is how they come. They wrap them up like a Hershey bar on a lot of their nicer knives. The low-end knives come wrapped pretty bad. Just it's a little cheap, really crinkly, nice or not nice, thin cellophane. This is very thin, like chocolate bar wrapper, maybe slightly thicker than that, tin foil, and you open it up. It usually comes off in pieces because it's so thin. It's just kind of strange that they do this. So here's the knife. So it was in a sleeve, but the sleeve is just, I don't know if you can see the bubble wrap difference. You see how this has got an organized pattern on it? I'm not sure what's going on there. And this is how they usually come. This bubble wrap, even though this is kind of a sleeve, it has no flap on it like this one that folds over. And it is just, I don't know. It's just, I don't know what that is. It's very thin and half the bubbles are popped and it's just not much. So then it was sitting in another nest of a little bit of something that was kind of thrown in there. You can just sort of see this stuff is ragged and thin. Usually stinks, smells, got a strange Chinese smell to it. They usually have this education pamphlet in there. It may be varying different kinds of papers. People analyze the paper, the fonts, whether there's typos in it. I don't spend a lot of time doing that. What I do look at, though, is notice that this foam, you'll see one on the left that's real, and you'll see the one on the right. The left one, you can see the box, bottom of the box showing through, and the right one, they either perfectly fit it every single time, or it's slightly too big, and it's actually overfitted and curled up slightly on the ends usually. And you can also see that you can see the white at the bottom through it. That's how lightweight this foam is. You know, to cut corners, they've used this really thin foam, and it fits perfectly. So that's all I'm doing on boxes. So you got the two knives here. Move this junk out of the way. You got the real one or the fake one on the bottom, the real one on the top. First thing you notice when you pick these knives up, especially if you have them to compare, is the real police is thin and elegant feeling. It is just in your hand. There's just nothing obtrusive about it. Even the fact that you got a clip on it, it's not bothering you. Whereas this is a big chunk of chunk. It's got a monstrous clip on it. I'm going to compare those in a minute. Let's go to the tail of the tape here and look at the numbers on the weights. So let's go over the real police. This is in grams. It's 136, 4 3/4, 4 5/8. Need to get that in the middle. 4 5/8. Here is the fake. 162, 160, 162, and 5 5/8. Exactly an ounce difference. And you can feel it. You can feel it two ways. One is this thing is just heavy. Other thing, it is very, very thick. So let's compare these two. I should get a caliper for this. You can see that the G10 is much thicker, and all the stainless is thicker on the fake is on the bottom, and the real one's on the top. If I can get a focus on here. Come on. So you can see, especially around the cutout there, how much thicker that G10 is. And then I think the stainless is thicker too. A little bit. It's mainly this G10. G10 is not light. Look at the clips. You can see on the top is the real one. It's fairly flat as a clip can be. Look at that monstrous bridge structure on the bottom. And you feel it. When you pick this thing up, that clip is biting into your finger and it's in the way. Real one on the left. See the pivot pins are different? This monster pivot pin on the fake. You'd think that and it sticks out. I mean, it's a big mushroom on there, on really both sides. The spider hole's a little smaller on the fake. I've already done a video on these things, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail other than I just wanted to review this mainly for the way it came in the package. But this one's a little bit better than some of them because the Spyderco G10 ought to squeak when you rub your finger across it. I'm pushing in hard and making my finger slide. Should have a lot of teeth on it. This fake did pretty good, better than most of them. Usually you can't get them to make that noise. It's got a little bit, but it just doesn't have that bite to it. Pull the blade out. Comparatively speaking, the fake is nowhere near smooth. The other thing I noticed is that when you try to disengage the lock, you have to go way down all the way to the bottom of the groove to disengage it on the fake. So you're really pushing, you got to get all the way down in there. You can see how far down in there it is. when you disengage the lock on Spyderco lockbacks, you can see how much more is sticking out. It is very easy, yet it's a positive lockup. And this thing is tight in every direction. Let's see. This thing's tight too. You got to really push down on this thing to get it to disengage. Let's see about the tips and the blades. The last one I had, the blade is also a kind of a thick, clubby kind of thing too. So the blade on a police, it is just elegant. It's an elegant blade. So I've got this one, and this one's not bad. It still has the seems to me like on the fakes, the tips, and the other one, the tip was really really screwy on. You know, it kind of drops off more than the Spyderco. It kind of, you know, almost more of a drop point when it comes down here. They really kind of roll that off there more than this guy. They do that on the police a little bit too, but it's not quite the same thing. This blade just has a very thin, elegant feel to it. This one, thicker. It's not necessarily a bad thing. You're not paying near the money for this thing. You can see that the Spyderco is cut in there, and this is an etching or a laser. Spyder's a little bit bigger on the fake. I would say the blades are very similar in their finish. The edge is pretty good on the fake. See, the Spyder hole's a little smaller. Jimping is close. It's pretty good jimping on it. Doesn't go quite as far up towards the top of the hole. You can see it's on the back. On the real one, it's basically cut into the blade, and it's just a printing kind of etching laser. I'm not sure how they got it on there. Maybe I don't know how they put this on there, but you know, it's not cut into the blade. The clips, real one's on the top. You can see that's, you know, nice, elegant hourglass shaped clip. And then this thing's this spoon looking thing here, which kind of comes up to a point. The angle on it, they don't really flatten it out much, whereas almost all Spydercos will come up and then they'll flatten the tip out. So it's basically parallel to the handle, to the scale. And on the fakes, they don't spend a lot of time on that. So you got this thing sticking out, trying to catch on things and poke holes and stuff, if it's in your pocket, in your back pocket especially, which is where I wear my knife all the time. So this would be just, you know, low profile on the real one. Look at that. Looks like they put some kind of dinosaur or something on there, or a snake or something. Or a sea serpent. I mean, look at that thing. So, you know, I forget how much this thing cost. It wasn't much. It's in the 20s, probably $20, $20-something. Great knife for that. I mean, it really is. Can't touch this guy, the real one. I mean, it can't. And so, boy, this thing is, and I've used it a little bit, but not a lot. It is smooth as silk, and it's got a surgical slicing. Man, that blade is just, I think, an awesome profile blade. Feels nice. It feels elegant. Feels like you could do some fine work if you had to. The knife fits well in your hand. The clip is not obtrusive. I mean, it is just a well-done knife. This is a Chinese knockoff, which is, by the way, a well-done knife. And if you didn't know any better and this hadn't come along, you'd be saying this is a great knife. I mean, really. It's got some, you know, it's not as smooth. It could certainly work in. And you can obviously take it apart and work on it on the inside. You could probably get a Spyderco clip to go on it if you wanted to. The The main thing that's a little bit irritating is that to disengage these things, you got to really jack down on all their lockbacks, Chinese lockbacks. All of them are like this. You got to really go all the way down to the bottom to get them. And you see how much is sticking up. You got to really jab your finger in there and go all the way down to the bottom of the groove for it to disengage. This guy, see how much more is sticking up. I think it has to do, one of the things they do is they cut their groove in the wrong, it's probably got some problems with the spring back and stuff geometry, but it's also where they cut the, sometimes they cut the grooves too deep in here, but this one doesn't look like, it's cut a little deeper. I think if they cut it less, like this one, this is a little itty bitty cut. This is a big monstrous cut. I think that would help them. But I think that they still have a little problem with the geometry of the lock on here, on the spring lock. So that's my quick review, 15 minutes, and I guess it was quick, review of a fake Spyderco police versus a real one. You know, if you got the money, the real one is the way to go. It is just great in your hand. This is a nice knife, though. For $20 some odd, they pay the shipping right to your house. This is quite a deal. Of course, we got no idea what kind of steel it is. It's probably pretty good. It might be a 440C. Could be a D2, but I doubt it in this level of knife. It would be probably something like 8 CR13 MOV, something like that, or a 440C, which would be great steels not too long ago. So this is a nice knife, don't get me wrong. It's just not a Spyderco. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave any comments. I'm always interested in talking about these Chinese ripoffs and how good they're getting. Leave comments, I would appreciate it. And tell me how the 4K works out if you can watch for 4K.